Hello, Parkway Panthers. Welcome to a brief presentation on adverbs of frequency and homophones. Your learning targets for today are to understand, recognize, and use adverbs of frequency to enhance writing, and to understand, recognize, and use the appropriate homophone in writing and editing. First, let's discuss adverbs of frequency. Think about these three questions and then turn and talk to your partner to answer these questions. How often do you go to school? When do you see your parents? How often do you brush your teeth? Go ahead and answer these three questions with the partner. I'll give you 15 seconds. Ready? Talk. All right, class, I'm ready to teach. Are you ready to learn? Good. Writers use adverbs of frequency to discuss when or how often something happens. Not only do writers use these adverbs of frequency, but they are part of our everyday language. We naturally tell when or how often something happens, such as, my grandma always make me pancakes when I spend the night over her house. How often does she make it? Always. Or, my dad always come to my football games. How often does he come? Always. I usually sleep late on Saturdays. How often do I sleep late? Usually. So those are adverbs of frequency. For another learning target, we want to talk about homophones. You may remember from previous grades that a homophone is a word that sounds the same but are spelled differently and have different meanings. So you want to use the correct homophone that match the meaning of the text when you are writing. Example adverbs of frequency are always, occasionally, frequently, sometimes, daily, and never. Remember, they answer the question, when or how often does it happen? Homophones, again, are words that sound alike but are spelled differently and have different meanings. Examples are there, T-H-E-R-E, there, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, and T-H-E-I-R. They're all pronounced there, but they all have different meanings. Another example are two and two. T-W-O, which is the number. T-O, which is a preposition, I'm going to the store. And T-O-O, which means also, like I want some cake too. The importance of these two skills in writing are that adverbs of frequency provides extra information to make writing more interesting and add details. Adverbs of frequency can help add transition, voice, imagery, and mood to your writing. And using the correct homophone can take away from the meaning of your writing because it won't make sense. So I'm going to do a short read aloud. And I want to look for adverbs of frequency, when or how often something happens, as well as homophones. This read aloud is from one of my favorite books by Patricia Polacco called The Butterfly. Follow along as I read. It was unusually bright that night outside of Monique's small bedroom window in Choisy-le-Roi, just outside of Paris. The moon was so radiant it seemed almost festive. As Monique gazed up at it, she thought that the moon must not know that her village was occupied by Nazi troops. All of France was, for that matter. There was a terrible war raging in what to Monique seemed like most of the world. But this night the moon seemed not to care. She pulled Pinoff, her cat, up next to her and hugged and kissed her good night, then drifted off to sleep. Monique didn't quite know why she woke up, but suddenly she saw a ghostly little figure sitting just next to the window on the end of her bed. a girl about her own age. She was petting Pinoff. "Who are you?" Monique whispered. The ghost child wheeled and looked with sad eyes that seemed frightened, then spun and ran from the bedroom. Let's take a look at this short piece, and do you notice that the word there, T-H-E-R-E, that is a homophone, right? And what did she do how did she wake up? It says Monique didn't quite know why she woke up, but suddenly she saw a ghostly little figure. When did she see it? Suddenly. And then also notice the words to there. Now, it wouldn't have made sense if a T-O-O or a T-W-O was there, because it would have changed the meaning. It would have been incorrect. Let's keep reading. The next morning at breakfast, Monique could hardly wait to talk to her mother about the ghost. But her mother seemed almost angry. It wasn't like Marcel Soliage to be angry at anyone. "It was only a dream, child. Do you hear? Only a dream. Now go to school." Monique couldn't wait to go to school so that she could tell her best friend Denise about the ghost. Since Monique was an only child, Denise was like a sister to her. On their way home from school, they stopped and peered into the front window of Monsieur Marc's candy shop. He waved them in as he always did. He loved the children in the neighborhood and always had small bits of brightly wrapped candies for them in his apron pocket. All right, I have 2 adverbs of frequency here in orange. The next morning. When? When did she tell her mom? The next morning. Let's look what Monsieur Marx says. He loved the children in the neighborhood and always had small bits. How often did he have small bits of candy? Always. Now, let's notice some homophones in this writing. It says Monique couldn't wait. W-A-I-T. The sentence would not have made sense if we used the other wait, W-E-I-G-H-T, which means like your weight, like how much you weigh, or to lift a weight, a heavy weight. The correct spelling and meaning for this sentence is to use wait, W-A-I-T. And then write on this paragraph, on their way home. T-H-E-I-R indicates, is talking about the girls, on the girls' way home. If it had said on their, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, that wouldn't make sense. Or T-H-E-R-E wouldn't make sense because that is not the correct there. So when you're using homophones in your writing, you must ensure that you are using the right one and that you're able to edit others' writing if they are using the wrong one. And then just notice how the adverbs of frequency provide that little bit of information and helps make the writing a little bit more interesting, creates a little mood. Since the next morning at breakfast, Monique could hardly wait. So it's really giving you a sense of urgency there. And then we get some information about Monsieur Marc because he always has small bits of brightly wrapped candies for the girls in his apron pocket or for the kids in the neighborhood. So I want for you to now turn to your motivation writing books to The Treaty Oak, a Symbol of Strength and Hope, and you and your teacher are going to do it together. Look for examples of homophones and adverbs of frequency. Until next time, bye-bye.